Here we go.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Podcast, number one podcast featuring three guys that kiss. I'm the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Kiss, where we kiss each other on the mouths.
And I'm the professional media and movie master kisser, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen, and welcome to episode 128 of Fresh Out the Podcast. Gary, it's great to have you back with us.
Hey, I decided to come back because I've realized I'm just not consuming new media. And so instead of just waiting until I consume new media, I might as well just be here.
Well, last week in your absence, Jahan and I we speculated about what could be shown at the Nintendo Direct they had last week, which, we recorded on Monday night. The podcast we recorded Monday night. The podcast, the Nintendo Direct was Tuesday morning. So regardless, our podcast was going to be going up after the announcements had been made. So it was just going to be a comparison of how wrong or how right were Drew and Jahan in their guesses, because anybody listening to the show, unless they watched it live via Twitch streaming or YouTube live, anybody was going to already know what had happened. And I think that Jahan and I did pretty well. Except I feel like our guesses were a little general, and what we got right was right adjacent, if that makes sense. Does that sound right, Jahan?
Right adjacent is left, and I like that.
So
yeah,
first off,
right.
I did say at one point, I'm like, do you think that there's any chance that they show Metroid Prime 4 as this is the last Nintendo Direct kind of the Switch as we know it before they announce the successor? Is there a chance that they, it's like Metroid Prime 4, it's actually happening, here it is? But I said it not even believing it, and I don't even think we made it an official prediction of any kind. We just kind of threw it out there, but that's what happened. So I'm taking credit for it.
Very good.
Right?
Yeah, you willed that into existence as far as I'm concerned.
Let's see. We thought maybe Zelda remasters of Twilight Princess or Wind Waker may be coming to the Switch. I think that's kind of what we discussed or landed on, because that's what was rumored.
That's what I was
hoping
for. Yeah.
I don't think anybody saw it coming. A Link's Awakening successor in that same art style for the Switch, but a game where you play as Zelda. I don't think anybody saw that.
Oh no,
Gary,
no one
saw the trailer for this game.
Yeah, that is one of the things I went and looked up, and I was like, boy, the game that everyone's been clamoring for.
I mean, people have been clamoring for a game where you get to play as Zelda. It's the first game you ever really get to play, other than when you get to play Sheik, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it blew me away. I wasn't expecting it. I loved Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. I loved the remaster, the art style of the remaster, and now we're getting more of that. So, I mean, it looks fun. It's a completely different gameplay style. It's more, I don't know, it's like she has a puzzle stick that can, be used to solve all kinds of stuff in different ways. It looks really fun.
Well, and that's what I wanted to ask about. What'd you say about the puzzle stick, Gary?
Lady Gaga has a puzzle stick, and you can take a ride on her puzzle stick.
Yep. Puzzle stick. Wait, no, I'm mixing up songs now, but that's okay.
Nope.
No,
I like that
you're not.
You nailed it.
Okay. I did it.
So, Gary, you have never been a Zelda guy, right? I mean, they're open single-player games, Link,
I would like to be clear that Ocarina of Time and its pseudo sandbox Hyrule field, the way it was connected to the rest of the zones, was certainly a precursor to all of the games that I have come to love. So I did love Ocarina at the time. Played the crap out of it, and I don't think you get Elder Scrolls without Ocarina of Time. I don't think it happens. So I respect Zelda for what it is, but I'm just not a huge Nintendo guy, and definitely the sort of throwback games, you really lost me. So now you've lost me twice with that one, with that title. And then also I'm playing as Zelda. Like, bro, if I'm trying to do the thing, I'm trying to do the thing as Link. But again, it's not for me. I'm not your Nintendo target demo.
Yeah.
See, I was curious if this one had a little bit more appeal for you in particular because of the freedom with it, summoning random items. It seems like there's not any one way you can accomplish something in the game. Like it looks like there's going to be a lot of different ways you can do things. I didn't know if that's something that's a little bit more your style.
No, there was nothing that jumped out to me that was like, oh boy, I gotta get this one. Still no.
Fair enough. Well, there was that. We said Metroid Prime 4. I did say, will there be some sort of IP, Nintendo IP that they resurrect or bring back something unexpected? There kind of was with the next in the Mario Luigi saga, and they did this kind of like throwback art style that kind of looks like it's straight off the 3DS and some of those old handheld games. In this style on the Switch. I'm excited for this. I liked these games on the handheld versions that have come out previously. John, any interest in this?
I have no like nostalgia for it. I never played it, but it did look cool, and the gameplay they showed, I liked how like you're controlling the different brothers using different buttons, and you have to hit them at the right time, and it seems like an interesting like puzzle platformer almost. And then the combat looks really cool. Looked like it had some timed button presses going on with turn-based combat, right?
Yes.
And so it looks fun. It looks interesting. It's not. I haven't played anything quite like that before, so I'm interested in checking it out. It's just not on the very tippy top of my list.
I think I had predicted a new Donkey Kong game, but instead there was Donkey Kong Country Returns, which was the Switch. No, excuse me. It was the Wii game on the Wii, and they have an HD remaster on the Switch, which this has been the trend, right? It just feels like because of Nintendo's consoles of the past, backwards compatibility has been difficult because of different remotes and controllers, the Wii U, the Wii, so on and so forth. So it seems like they've just been building up all the most popular games from the Wii and the Wii U to bring them to Switch so that they've kind of like padded out their roster of backwards compatibility games in a modern sense, because Nintendo fans will pay for these games again even if they bought them on previous consoles. So now we have Donkey Kong Country Returns HD coming to the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, people will buy them. Yeah, returns, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, what a missed opportunity. Returns.
Everything Nintendo does is returns, except for all the new stuff you just mentioned. But then everything they do is returns.
Like the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection with all the arcade classics. Returns.
Yep. Yeah, they have that. They also have what was the other? The Dragon Quest remakes, remakes are coming. But they looked a little bit more like, are they remakes or are they remasters? I think it says remakes. So
remakes, because they're for like the original Nintendo. So these are like very nice, and it's still like a 2D style, but it's way prettier. I'm very excited for these because they're beloved games, and I like the modern Dragon Quest games, and I haven't played these old ones. I will say, I believe I said verbatim, they'll show some sort of Square Enix stuff during this conference. They always show some RPGs and stuff. This isn't Square Enix, it's technically Atlas, but it's right in line with what I was getting at when I made that point. Like, there's always some JRPG remasters or new games and some beloved franchise, even if it's not one that's interesting to us. And I feel like the Dragon Quest remasters kind of fit the mold there for what we were getting at.
Yeah, I'm sure it's exciting for some people. I pass for me, but I understand the appeal. It's just I don't have any nostalgia for those games either, so it's like, eh.
What about a new Mario Party?
The new Mario Party was a good one for me. Mario Party Jamboree. It seems like they learned from their last Mario Party game, because the last one did not have enough maps. It didn't have enough boards. And in a Mario Party game, you want a lot of boards. You want to be able to play different style, have different experiences. This one, it boasts that it's going to have the most mini games of any Mario Party installment ever. It looks really fun, and it looked like it had lots of different boards to play on. So I'm excited for this. These are really fun to play. Me and Jen have a lot of fun with these. So maybe we can all play together someday, buddy.
I would definitely. I don't think I'd buy it, but if somebody has it and we're in a
I'll
group
buy it.
setting, I would absolutely play it.
I'll 100% buy it. It's one of the games that's an absolute buy for me. Mario parties, Mario Karts, and Zelda games. I'll buy all of them that come out. So obviously excluding remasters and stuff. Sometimes I'm not into it, but I'll buy some of them. Another one that was interesting to me. The Lego Horizon Adventures, based off of Horizon Zero Dawn, is coming to. It's going to be on everything, so I thought that was interesting because it's.
I don't think it'll be on Xbox.
It's
I
not.
think it's just on Switch and PlayStation.
I think it's on Switch,
and
PlayStation,
maybe PC.
and PC. But yeah, it's interesting that they are getting a PlayStation IP to come over, even in a Lego form. Kind of cool, but I don't know if this is a buy for me, but I just thought the concept of it coming to the Nintendo Switch was worth mentioning and interesting.
I agree. It's kind of like PlayStation and Xbox are really just in competition with each other. They've realized that Nintendo is kind of on an island, and they have such a devout fan base anyways that those fans are going to support Nintendo no matter what. It doesn't really matter what the other consoles are doing. So Nintendo has become kind of this weird neutral ground for both PlayStation and Xbox, because there have been other Xbox previously exclusive games that have come to the Switch, right? Like we had the Ori games, Cuphead, and then of course some of those games that now are on PlayStation also, like Hi-Fi Rush and so on. But now we're seeing it the other way around, right? So we're getting Lego Horizon to the Switch. That's kind of the first big PlayStation IP to come to the Switch, but I don't know. It's like they're okay sharing these games with the Switch, just not quite with each other yet. Or at least PlayStation's not comfortable sharing anything with Xbox at this point, with the exception of the MLB games, but that's not necessarily PlayStation's choice. That's the MLB making them do that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I was saying, definitely, maybe not a buy for me, but definitely interesting. Yeah, I think the takeaways from this, first off, it was a great Direct, which I wasn't necessarily expecting this many big, reveals. The Zelda game was huge for me. I'm really excited for that. Metroid Prime, really good. Mario Party and Mario and Luigi, those are both really exciting for me. But then, they had some kind of meh stuff like Wii Sports has basketball now, and also Looney Tunes sports game. Like, I don't care about that. Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
And there were a lot of these games
Meh.
were shown at Summer Games Fest in different capacities too, and it's just like confirmed coming to the Switch, or maybe they shared a little bit more. I'm with you. Like, I don't mean to yada yada the rest of the Direct, but it's kind of just like, the rest of the stuff is really inconsequential. It's like, we've talked about the big Nintendo news. I think what's more interesting to me is, the announcement of Metroid Prime 4 and showing gameplay, and that it's really happening, and it's happening in early 2025. This is the last Direct. This is the swan song for the Nintendo Switch, as we know it. That was my take. Metroid Prime 4 was first announced 7 years ago. Like, that is insane. It was shown, a logo, nothing more, and then they've just been quiet on it for years. I think that there was a lot of ups and downs with that game. I've heard news that they essentially had to scrap it and start from scratch at different points. Like, there was a troubled production, but it's finally here, and what we saw looks really good. So I do feel like this is the kind of feather in the cap of the Nintendo Switch, right? They announced this game 7 years ago. It's going to come out and kind of close out
it's their magnum opus
roster of games. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could, for all we know, it could be released on both, right? This could be the Twilight Princess, right? Where Twilight Princess was on, GameCube and on the Wii, I believe. It's like, this could be that, where it's, it comes out, Metroid Prime 4 is out for the Switch, but also for the Switch successor, the Super Switch, whatever you may call it.
Yeah.
But I think that this Direct is the end of the Switch lineup.
I agree with that assessment. And it was a good direct, and I'm excited to see what the next console will bring. Another thing that was funny, they also, obviously, they always reveal stuff that they're releasing on their retro consoles. They had Zelda Link to the Past, Four Swords, Metroid Zero Mission, and Turok for the N64, which I was excited about. But the thing I thought was funny because of Microsoft's Direct was they are also releasing Perfect Dark on the retro console, which is funny right after Xbox announces that they are using the license to make a Perfect Dark next-gen game. I think it's funny that they're like, hey, we have the license for this one, check it out. I don't know. It amused me for sure.
Yeah, same here. It was, the timing had to be purposeful.
Oh yeah, definitely a deliberate timing there. But all in all, yeah, great direct. Excited for what's coming out. I can't wait to get my Link's Awakened Zelda amiibo that I imagine they're gonna have. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, I would imagine. I keep just calling it like the Link's Awakening sequel. What's it called? It's called
Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. There you go.
No.
Gary, any takeaways on this? Or,
As a guy who doesn't have a Switch, none of this makes me want to buy a Switch.
You used to have one,
at this
though,
point,
right?
Yep.
No. I thought so.
At this point, I would just say you're probably no reason to buy a Switch unless the new one comes out and they get heavily discounted. I would say don't buy one at this point. I would imagine all of these games are going to be available on the successor. I think that they're working to make sure everything's backwards compatible. So we're going to get a bigger, stronger, big, strong new Switch next year, and this old Switch will become, I don't want to say irrelevant. They'll probably do the Xbox strategy where a lot of new games for the Super Switch will also be available on the original Switch, but it's like they're not going to run as well, or they're not going to look as good. It'll be that kind of thing, would be my guess. Anything else to add on that?
Oh, hey, Gary, just FYI, you're a little quiet still. If you could turn it up a bit.
I can't. My gain is all the way up, bro. I don't know what I can do about this.
Oh, that's weird. Maybe closer to your
Just
mic.
here
I don't
for it.
know. Yeah.
It's
Like right in your face. I don't know why it's so quiet then.
Right.
Because I have your volume
because
maxed out.
I'm a very quiet person.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Sorry you guys can't hear
Should
Gary
we
that
move
well,
on
but we
to-
shall move on to movies of the week. Drew's got the only movie.
Yeah, I went and saw this new movie in theaters. It's called The Bike Riders. Have you heard of it?
Nope.
It's okay if the answer is no, because I feel like this is kind of snuck out there. The Bike Riders actually has kind of an interesting history. I believe either Fox 26 or Searchlight, but basically it's a Disney movie at this point. But when the strikes were happening, they started shopping it around for somebody else to release it, and Focus Features actually got it and ended up distributing it. So now here it is. It is a movie that's based off of a real photo book of the same name called The Bike Riders that depict the lives of the Vandals MC, like a motorcycle club of the late 60s, early 70s.
This is already cooler than I thought it would be.
Yeah, so, or I guess, I think the Vandals, it's the Outlaws Motorcycle Club that was founded in the 60s. The Vandals is like the fictional version of that's in the movie, but it's based off of that same photo book. So essentially, it's like really early biker culture. It stars Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Jodie Comer, and other people show up in this, like Michael Shannon, Norman Reedus. There's a bunch of people in this, Boyd Holbrook. And I'll just say, the cinematography and everything, directed by Jeff Nichols, this movie looks amazing. Like the shots of them riding bikes and everything is fantastic. It's kind of a plotless movie. It's one of those that moves through those years, like a 7 or 8 year span, really showing how this biker culture evolved in that time. It starts off as like a bunch of guys that just like bikes and like hanging around with each other, and that's what they do, and they have big parties, whatever. And then slowly, as they start expanding and new chapters open up, things become more violent. There's more crime. Basically, you see the future of Sons of Anarchy, right? Like of what we know from that show, and how the biker culture is depicted in media these days. But in the early days, it was like more just bros wanting to be bros and hang out with each other. And Austin Butler, a lot of it kind of revolves around him and his character, and Jodie Comer, who plays his eventual wife in the movie. She's doing this. If y'all watch the trailer for this movie, Jodie Comer's doing this incredibly thick Midwestern accent that's almost distracting at first, but when you watch the movie, I easily started accepting it, and I think she was actually really great. I've listened to interviews with the director where he said that apparently the accent she's doing, who it's actually based off, it's like 1-to-1 comparison, just a perfect replication of it. But I feel like your enjoyment of the movie could be made or broken by if you are accepting of the accent she's doing. Tom Hardy, of course, is doing a character as Tom Hardy does, but he's a lot more reserved in this, like a lot quieter. He's still doing a voice and everything as he tends to do, but it's just way more subdued. I thought his performance was actually really good. Austin Butler's kind of quiet throughout. He's like the strong silent type, even though he's kind of a central fixture of the movie. Overall, this movie's carried by the characters and the character actors within it. And if you enjoy a lot of those people, you're probably going to find something to enjoy in this movie. It's a total vibe piece. I really enjoyed it, despite there not being a whole lot of plot. It's really good. It's in theaters now. Focus Features, I believe, is Universal. So this will come to Peacock down the line, I believe. But as of right now, it is in theaters. That's
I
the
wouldn't
Bike
mess
Riders.
with the Bike Riders. It sounds pretty good.
It sounds interesting.
I'll be interested because, Gary, I know you were the one that got me into Sons of Anarchy over 10 years ago when that show was on and in its prime, and I know you were into it, and so I would be interested to get your take on this movie when you are eventually able to see it.
Yeah, I would love to. This one's on my list. When it pops out, I'll make sure to see it with my eye bones.
For sure. And that was it. That's the only fresh movie I had.
We'll move on to fresh TV of the week. You want to start off with the big one, House of the Dragon. Season 2 continues. Sure. I've been continuing my rewatch while watching the new episodes. We got pretty far in it, and honestly, it helps understand some of the stuff and kind of get back into the motivations of people. This show's great. This episode, they're dealing with the aftermath of the previous episode. I don't think I want to spoil it yet. Some people take a little longer to watch things, but man, it was dark. It was painful. There's a lot of emotion. I think a lot of the actors and actresses did a really good job, and the next episode is shaping up to be intense with a lot of hot dragon on dragon battle action potentially. So I'm excited for that. What'd you think?
Yeah. Oh, what was that?
What'd you think?
Who am I talking over? What I think? I thought that it was really good. I thought that this episode did a great job of dealing with the fallout of last episode while still propelling the plot forward.
Yeah.
The fallout of Blood and Cheese, as it's known to the Game of Thrones heads. This is the new event that we have, right?
Instead of the Red Wedding, it's Blood and Cheese. Yeah.
Yep. This is what the fans of the book actually refer to this as, the people that have been, reading the House of the Dragon book. Is that what the book is called too? I can't even remember.
I don't remember, but it's based off of. When you watch the after, behind the scenes stuff, they do also refer to it as Blood and Cheese. So yeah.
Fire and Blood. That's what the actual book is called. It's not called House of the Dragon. Anyways, this event in Fire and Blood, I think, is referred to as Blood, which is a good name. But yeah, the fallout of Blood and Cheese, and I think there are some interesting things here. I would have liked to see more of I won't say exactly what happens, but the twin brothers that are knights for opposite sides. I'm assuming they've been around, and I don't know, Jahan, if you remember if they're in season 1 as you've been watching it, or if if they're relevant there.
I don't think I've gotten
it's
to
not
the
really
part where
something I
they're
remembered.
in season 1 again, but I do remember they were in it, and they have a dispute during that. So yeah, it was cool to see them have another moment, but yeah, I would have liked a little bit more of them to maybe drive home the impact a little bit more.
Exactly. And then the stuff with Otto Hightower, it's interesting. Game of Thrones has always done this in the past, where Jaime Lannister is a villain one season, like you truly despise him, and you wish bad, terrible things on him, and then a season or two later, he's the most sympathetic character, and everybody's like, "Oh, Jaime Lannister is my favorite character." And I can't tell if they're starting to do similar things with Otto Hightower, because he's been kind of pulling strings, behind the scenes, and has seemed like he has ill intentions, but now they're doing things to almost make me sympathize with him. I'm like, are they gonna make me like Otto Hightower in this? I can't tell.
See, they are doing that with him. He's doing a really good job flexing his muscles there with the acting. But also they do make him sympathetic. I feel like they do a good job making a lot of people sympathetic. Like, I was more firmly on team, what is it, green is Rhaenyra's team? Or are they black?
Green would be Allison.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
I believe.
And then, so yeah, I was more on the other team, on Rhaenyra's team. But now after, like, what I'm seeing, like, I'm like, man, they both really do make some good points. The surprise for me of this episode was Aegon. Both the actor doing a terrific job and just, like, the character's development. I felt very sympathetic for him, and I was surprised at his reactions and his motivations. I was like, man, this is he's really invested in what's going on, and he might actually be a good character going forward. I thought he was going to be a boring, drunk piece of shit the whole time. I didn't realize he was going to gain motivation and become like a main character. The way it looks like he's shaping up to. So, very cool.
It's just clear watching season 2 that it seems like they really learned their lessons from those last couple seasons of Game of Thrones, where things really had to be expedited. And with this, they really have it planned out. They're taking their time with the story, and it shows. I don't know if the highs of season 1 or 2 of House of the Dragon reach some of the highs of those early seasons of Game of Thrones, and it's probably always going to be in the shadow of that. But for what this is, I just think it's still really strong storytelling in this universe. And
I do too.
It's like, we're going to get a lot of this for years to come.
Yeah, I agree, and I think this show completely stands on its own, very well. Even without Game of Thrones, if this just came out and this was fresh, I think that this would be fire. And so yeah, I think it does stand on its own, but Game of Thrones was Game of Thrones, so it's hard to... Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
I will get HBO again when the season's over so I can watch the whole thing, but it's not enough for me to need to see it week to week like Game of Thrones was.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Game of Thrones, over the world, you know what I mean? Everybody was talking about Game of Thrones. Everybody. You couldn't open your Facebook without Game of Thrones spoilers back in the day.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as far as pop culture phenomena goes, this is definitely a far cry from what Game of Thrones was. But from a quality standpoint, I feel like
I still feel like there's a strong dialogue going though about House of the Dragon. Like, it's still out there. I feel like it's still a water cooler discussion. I just feel like the people our age who were posting about about Game of Thrones, 10, 13 years ago, just aren't as vocal on social media maybe as they once were. Is my take on it. I feel like if you want to find podcasts and think pieces and Reddits and whatever of people talking about House of the Dragon, you have it in spades. Like, it's all out there. People are into this. That's my take.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I've talked about this at work. Like, I've come in on Monday and people are like, "Hey, Jahan, did you see it?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and we'll talk about it. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely still a part of the main conversations. But yeah, I feel like it's still a little bit off from the Game of Thrones. So that's House of the Dragon. I imagine we'll continue to talk about it as the season progresses. But for now, I think we're gonna switch over. Do you want to go, or
Well, I'll just say, Gary, to add on to when you do eventually resubscribe to Max, I believe you had also watched the first 2 seasons of Hacks, as I had, and there's now a third season of Hacks that's on
Yes, that is
Max.
one of the things that I'm excited to see. Actually, that was before House of the Dragon. I think Hacks had just started Hacks season 3, and so Max was already on my radar. Just Max for Hacks, you know what I mean?
Max for Hex, man. I got it. Yeah, I haven't finished all of season 3 of Hex is out now on Max, and I have not watched all of season 3, but I finally started it. So I've watched the first 2 episodes of season 3, and it's more Hacks. It's just a super strong comedy. I still really like this show, and it's definitely one where, as it is now with shows where you're going like 2 years between seasons on some of them, I have to kind of refresh myself on where everything is and how it ended off. But after watching the first 2 episodes, I'm right back in it and right back with these characters and interested to see where it goes. So I just wanted to shout out. I haven't finished Tech season 3, but I have started it up.
excellent?
I guess the other one too, Jahan, I can just go ahead and mention
Yeah, go
because I
for
don't
it.
have much to say. But obviously now the other talk of the town is The Boys season 4 has started. I finally said, okay, fine. I will start up The Boys. I have put this off for years. And I started up season 1 of The Boys, and I think I've watched 3 or 4 episodes at this point, so maybe like about halfway through season 1, and it's good. I'm enjoying it a lot in this early season and what they're setting up, and I can clearly see why this show was a phenomenon in its own right and is one of the most popular shows on Prime. So yeah, I mean, there's not much I can say here that hasn't been said about it already. This season's 5 years old at this point, but I am really enjoying it. So I just wanted to shout out that I'm getting caught up on The Boys. Hopefully by around the end of season 4 or not long after season 4, I'll be able to catch up with it all. So I'll be all caught up by season 5, because I not only have 3 seasons of The Boys to watch, but I have to watch the first season of Gen V as well. But
Yeah.
it's all in process now.
No, it's good. I'm glad you're liking it. The Boys is one of my favorite things, so I'm happy to talk about it with you in the future, for sure. I'm also watching something that's very old. I started watching The Bear on Hulu. I put this off because it's very triggering when you work in the food industry. Like a lot of his anxiety and stuff, like it really hits home for me. Even now, as far removed from the industry as I've become, it still filled me with a bit of anxiety. It's really good. The acting's really good. The story's interesting. I like it. I see why people like it. And I'm going to continue to watch it.
How far are you in it?
Like 3 episodes.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's to me, in my opinion, it starts off pretty good, and I had probably the exact same take as you. I'm like, this is pretty good. I don't really, I get why people like it, but I don't see all the fuss. But by the end of the first season, I was all in, and I feel like the second season has really only elevated it. I am really looking forward to season 3 dropping this week on Thursday. It comes out on Thursday as of the time of this recording. And all I'll say is, what a missed opportunity from Hulu. This should absolutely be a weekly drop, because I feel like it's going to be very popular for them, as the first 2 seasons feel like they're kind of in the Ted Lasso realm, where like it just feels like everybody has watched it and knows these characters and will reference it at times. Like I feel like that's kind of where we're at with The Bear, and this could have been a weekly discussion, and instead they're going to drop this season all at once on Thursday, which, don't get me wrong, I'm excited to be able to watch it all at once, but I'm nervous for this to be a one and done, and then we're on to the next thing, and I feel like this show deserves more than that. But
Honestly,
that's obviously been my stance on weekly releases versus the binge model anyways, but
I used to be really in on the
It is what
binge
it is.
model, but I've come around to I think the weekly drops are better. I like it when they drop like 3, and then you get to go week to week, because I don't have time
Buddy,
to catch up.
calm down. I like my binging, all right? You guys better chill out before you mess this up for all of us. It's okay. Look, The Bear has been dropped and binged already, and it made the cultural zeitgeist, so let them drop and binge their show. I'll try to take it away from sweet little bingers like me.
I don't like it. Because sweet little bingers like you spoil shit. Well, not you specifically, but, you know, the Zacks of the world.
Boo, Zach.
Boo, Zach.
Oh, man, shots fired on the pod.
Boo,
You
Zach.
tell him.
Everybody knows a Zach that needs to be booed. Go ahead and text your friend Zach now and boo him.
Yeah, it's guaranteed that everyone has a Zach they don't
Should
like
I
in their lives.
They actually text him and
That'd be
boo him?
really funny if you did that right now.
I'm gonna do it right now
Because he listens to the pod, so...
He does listen to it, so this is gonna have context when he listens to it.
Are we all
sent
texting the same Zach right
with
now?
many O's and a couple of exclamation marks. There it is. I sent it to him.
We're all texting the same Zach.
Boo.
Yeah, I went ahead and sent a text to boo, Zach, boo. All right, done.
I think also, I will say this though about the binge model, and you know, this is a conversation that comes up. It can definitely work against you too when you don't do the binge model. And I'm looking at you, The Acolyte, the new Star Wars show on Disney Plus that dropped the first 2 episodes when it premiered. I watched those in that first week. Thought, hey, I really like this. Like, I seem to be liking this maybe more than others. When John and I talked about it, I was way higher on it than him. Then the 3rd episode dropped a week later, and I was much less high on that episode. And then I haven't watched the 4th one, and the 5th episode's about to come out. So I'm like already at the point of like, do I even care enough to continue on with this show or not? You know, I'm sure I will, but that's when the weekly model can work against you. If it had all dropped at once, I probably just would have continued watching it then and there and knocked it out. But now I'm like, do I really care to make the time for the show? But we'll see if it bounces back.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing about. There's like such a dialogue, a very toxic dialogue about the 3rd episode, which I feel like I made myself clear on my take on that last week.
Yeah.
Very toxic conversation around that episode, but I've heard nothing about episode 4. Like, I feel like nobody was talking about episode 4, and a 5th episode drops, I think, either tonight or tomorrow.
I've heard stuff about episode 4. It's a continuation of the same sort of toxic dialogue, so that's gross. But hey,
oh good.
Hey, what do you think is gonna happen when you put women on screen? Gross men are gonna say horrible things about it. It's just gonna happen. So you know, whatever. But you know, be better. Be better. I feel like those people don't really listen to our pod, but yeah, be better.
Be better every day. Be a little bit better.
I have one last show to talk about. This one's interesting from a like IP standpoint, I think. So this is Scavenger's Reign. It is a Max original. It was created for Max. That is now on Netflix, which I feel doesn't happen. And so I thought that was really interesting. When you boot it up on Netflix, it says Max Original right above it. And so I just thought that was really interesting that's now on Netflix. But Scavenger's Reign is an animated science fiction. It's a very visual science fiction.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Dude, I think you would totally dig this, Gary. It's really chill, but like still it has intense moments, but also has these moments of intense beauty, wonder. Just you don't know what's going on. They don't really necessarily set stuff up. There's not a lot of exposition. They really don't set things up. Like these people, you come to realize these people were trapped on this planet because of a spaceship crash. And, you know, there's these separate groups that are all dealing with it in different ways. They're small groups. One person, it's just a woman and her robot. And then there's another group that's just one man, one woman. And then there's a guy that's by himself on this alien planet. And all of them are having wildly different experiences. The world is full of these strange creatures that, you know, you can use in all kinds of weird ways. They use some of them as, like, breathing masks. And, like, some of them can charge your car batteries. It's a very imaginative science fiction show about these people stranded on an alien world. Scavenger's Reign, it's already, like, a lot of people have talked about this. I believe I'm not sure if it's won any awards or if it's just in the conversation for some award shows, but it's worth checking out. It is very strange, but it's also, I think, very unique, fresh, and beautiful. So, Scavenger's Reign, if you're a fan of animation or science fiction, go ahead and check it out. It's on Netflix right now. And that's it for Fresh TV of the week. The only thing that we have left to talk about is I just wanted to mention a game that I've been playing. I picked Hades back up on the Switch because the Switch Direct made me just want to play my Switch again. And then Hades 2 is coming out soon. And I just wanted to pick up Hades again. I beat Hades twice last night. The storyline's still incredible. It's a lot of fun. And it's just nice to pick up an old game. I just wanted to mention that I had a lot of fun playing Hades last night. If you've never played it, it is worth it. It's worth checking out. So,
I wish I had more to add in the games department. I'm still playing Rise of the Ronin, which is why I haven't put it on here. But I've put in about like 40 something hours into it, I think is what I looked at my hour count recently, like 44, 45 hours. I'm in the last act. I'm in chapter 3, as they call it. So hopefully I'll have new games to talk about soon. But I am really trying hard to platinum Rise of the Ronin. So hopefully that's the update next week, is that I platinumed it.
I uninstalled Forza and then reinstalled Wreckfest and then 100% all the races in Wreckfest. So then I uninstalled that and just reinstalled Forza. So I'm just driving. I'm just driving and smoking and hanging out and vibing and having a good time.
nothing wrong with that, Gary.
I saw that Forza Horizon 4 might be being delisted because of like rights issues with music or something of the sort. I just saw that the other day, or just today, actually, I think.
Humbug. That's a bummer.
Is that the one that did you go back to Forza Motorsport or Forza 5, whatever the most recent one is, or which one did you go back to?
I actually did, funny that you mentioned this, I actually did reinstall Horizon 4 last month because I had beaten all of Horizon 5. And then I crushed Horizon 4 and put Horizon 5 back on. Horizon 5 is in Mexico, so the terrain there looks exactly like the terrain where I live, so it really does just scratch this itch of needing to go outside and drive. I'm totally sated by the game.
Here's the Forza Horizon 4 update. I just found the story that did post today on IGN. It will be delisted from digital stores on December 15th. So you have a long time. It's not for almost 6 months.
I already went back in and crushed it, bro. 4 is under the belt, 5's under the belt. I'm ready for them to release 6.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I've also been going back and playing games. Like I started playing Bolt Gun again because they have a DLC coming out, and also Erdtree. I've been wanting
Cyberpunk. I put some more Cyberpunk under my belt.
Yeah, I actually know a lot of people that have been playing Cyberpunk lately. I don't know. I feel like there's probably a new update and people are just getting into it.
Good. It's good again, man. It's almost unrecognizable from the piece of crap that came out.
No, that's good. I should pick it up again too. I also have it on the Xbox. But yeah, no, I've also been wanting to try out Erdtree for Elden Ring because a lot of friends are playing that and they're saying good things. And I don't know, man. There's a lot of games that are out right now that I just don't have the time for that I really wish I did. So it's a good time to be a gamer, I think. Again, finally.
Speaking of friends playing Elden Ring, John and I were at a friend's get together over the past weekend. And they were talking Elden Ring, and I made a joke. Granted, I've never played a minute of Elden Ring before. Let me make that very clear. Never played a minute of it. They do say that of the Souls-like games, it's one of the most accessible, and even those that don't like the other Souls games, Elden Ring's the one that hooks them. I plan to give it a try, hopefully one day. But I made a joke that I was boycotting the Elden Ring DLC, this new expansion, because it offers dozens of hours of gameplay, but they added no new achievements or trophies to the game. That is why I said I was boycotting it. A friend of the show, Robert, who I don't think was fully listening to me, but just heard me say I was boycotting Elden Ring, literally geared up like he wanted to fight me for speaking ill on this game. Until he realized that I was joking, did not realize that Elden Ring can be such a sensitive topic with some of our close friends.
For him, yes, he's obsessed. But
he then clarified the two things that will make him want to fight you are speaking bad about Elden Ring
and touching
or
his
eating
food.
his food.
Yeah. Those are the two things. Congratulations to your new daughter, Robert. But yeah, so that's it. That's all of our fresh news and everything for this week. That was a fun episode. And I'm looking forward to talking about some more things next week. I know that we're planning on seeing some movies and stuff, so very excited. Fresh picks of the week. What was the best thing that you guys experienced this week? For me, I'm gonna go with House of the Dragon. It's still fresh. It's still beautiful. It's still wonderful, and I want to kiss it.
I went to a really good breakfast place in Albuquerque and had chicken and waffles.
That is absolutely a fresh pick of the week. Like, to me, that counts. You can do that all day. I said The Boys for my fresh pick of the week, and I know that this is like, I'm only on season 1 and I'm 5 years late to the party, but hey, I'm enjoying it, and it's the freshest thing I enjoyed this week. House of the Dragon right there with it, to be clear. But just trying to differentiate our picks here.
Personally, like, it's very rewarding to me that you like The Boys, because I've been talking about it for a long time, so I'm excited that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, we started doing this podcast, in 2021, when there were only 2 seasons, and now there's a 3rd and 4th season and a spin-off series. Yeah, it's about time. And an animated series. Can't forget that. Yeah, so
Gen V, Slaps, and Diabolical's not bad.
Yeah, I like Diabolical. It's got some of them are dumb, but that's just par for the course with a variety show like that.
Anthology cartoon series,
anthologies like that.
It's just not the one. It's that Diabolical's not required.
It's not required at all. Not even a little bit. There's nothing. I don't think any of it's really canon, or maybe just not relevant. But yeah, it's a good time though, and it's really bite sized. So I still recommend it. But yeah, that's it for our Fresh Everything this week. Hey, thanks for listening to Fresh Out the Podcast. It's been fun. I have been the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty CDG, co-host of Fresh Out the Box, Fresh Out the Podcast. If you want to listen to our podcast, you should. You should use your ears to do it. If you want to see us playing tabletop role-playing games, you should use your eyes to do that. Tell your friends, family, your foes, your enemies. Tell everyone to do the same. Fresh Out the Box TTRPG. That's our YouTube. You can find us at twitch.tv/Jahananan, playing games, doing stuff, and we love you. We love you.
So much so that we're going to give you all a big old kiss. I'm the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. This has been episode 128 of Fresh Out the Podcast.
Stay fresh.